So for some reason, my depressive episode video that I filmed a year and 11 days ago now has a bit over 1,000 views, which I don't totally understand, but I guess people just either want to learn more about depression or they just needed someone to relate to. Either way, I'm glad I was able to do that. But now I want to talk about something different. So what is derealization? The definition I learned from my abnormal psychology class is this feeling of sense of unreality or detachment from your surroundings. And that's, yep, that sums it up pretty well. And I have episodes of derealization pretty often. At this point, I feel like it's on a more consistent basis where I don't really go a day without feeling derealization. But I think what prompted me to make this video was that a couple nights ago, I picked up my dad from work. I drove us home, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was in a dream. All of a sudden, I felt like what I was doing wasn't real. And I had this huge urge to drive us off this overpass we were driving over, to kind of veer off the road because, hey, we're in a dream anyway, right? It's not like I'm gonna do any real damage because we'll just wake up and it'll be over. Thankfully I didn't. Thankfully, you know, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be here. It stuck with me until I went to bed that night, and it was really weird. You know those videos you watch when they have like a GoPro and they're wearing a helmet type thing and you can see what they're doing like from a first person point of view? That's how I felt. That's how I feel when I experience derealization, and I feel like I'm not inside my own body and I'm just watching someone else kind of thing. But that's depersonalization, which I'm not totally sure I experience, because maybe it's a mixture of both. I don't really know. It's really difficult to feel this way. I have two different spectrums of derealization. When I'm depressed and then when I'm really happy. I think when I'm depressed, I think this is a coping mechanism for me, and I think that it's my way of kind of shielding from the pain, because if it's not real, then I can't really be depressed. When I'm happy, I feel like what I'm doing isn't real, in the sense of like, this is why I record everything on my social media, why I Snapchat and take pictures and take videos. It's because I don't want to forget this moment happened, and I don't want to forget that I'm experiencing this, because with this sense of derealization, it reminds me that what I'm doing is real and substantial, and it's not just in a dream. Because I tend to daydream a lot also, so sometimes my mind mixes things up from a daydream to what actually is happening in my life. And it's scary because I want to treasure all the real things that happen to me with my friends, with my family, but I can't, because my mind is making me believe that none of this is really happening and that I'm still stuck in this dream. I do feel like derealization is now a part of my life. In a sense, even now filming this video, I don't think that this is real. I don't fully understand or fully believe that any of this is real. Sometimes it's the way my eyes move. Oh, that's gonna bother me when I edit. Just as a side note, now when I film videos, I hate when my eyes kind of drift off like that. I hate it, so that's gonna piss me off editing. Anyway, the way that it messes me up is that when my eyes move, things just kind of slow down and my brain can't process everything that's happening. And it sucks because whether I'm at work or doing stuff around the house, I feel like things aren't being done as well as they should be, because everything's just happening so quickly and so rushed, and it's really hard to explain. Trigger warning, I'm going to talk about self-harming. If that triggers you, skip to this time and it'll be a whole new subject. So I have never self-harmed to the point of drawing blood. I've never cut myself, and I always thought I was too weak for that because I can't even hurt myself. Wow, like, you are super weak. which obviously isn't true. It's actually a show of strength, you know. But I do have tactics, whether it's pulling on my hair tie on my wrist and just slapping myself, or scratching the back of my neck because no one looks behind there anyway. It's just for me, and I can't speak for everyone that self-harms or has self-harmed, but for me it's a coping mechanism to make me understand, or try to understand, that I'm awake and that I'm here, because pain is the way to do that, in my opinion. Like pain, like why do you think to test if you're really awake in a dream, it's like the main character in a show asks someone else to slap them, and if you feel that pain, then it must mean that you're awake and that you're alive. That's kind of the way that I deal with it. And sometimes when I'm uncomfortable and I don't want to cry, I just like pierce my nails into my skin too. It's really bad whenever I'm in therapy and I just don't want to cry, which is all the time, but sometimes I still end up crying. I tend to like just dig into my skin, because that pain is going to help me stop crying from the emotional pain, and that's just the way my brain interprets it, and that's how I deal with it. Super unhealthy, I know, but I don't really know how to healthily cope with it, how to healthily get myself out of feeling like I'm stuck in a dream. Sometimes I just have to let it pass and just kind of sit there and handle it, and a lot of the time my friends don't even know what's happening. I don't really talk about it because I try to convince myself that I am here and that everything's fine, but when I leave the house or leave a friend's house, I sit in my car and I have to tell myself, okay, that actually happened. And sometimes a lot of the things I do is a blur, because I'm so caught up in telling myself that I'm actually doing these things that I don't even remember what I just did. Trying to focus on the now is really hard for me a lot of the time, and I don't know how to really deal with it. I haven't been to therapy in a little bit, and I feel like we talk about my depression and my anxiety, but I've never really talked about my derealization, because I never thought it was really a big deal, but now it's kind of getting to the point of every single day I have a feeling of derealization. Every single day I feel like a moment of my life isn't real and that I'm still asleep. And my biggest fear is that I'm actually in a coma and this is all fake. So lately I've been scratching myself more, because at least I know pain is real, but sometimes it isn't enough. And I don't want to get to the point of doing something else more drastic. So if any of you have tips on how to deal with it, please let me know. But that's where I'm at right now. I think I'm also just really stressed about finals and transition periods, that my mind is overwhelmed and doesn't know how to cope with everything that's happening. Hopefully, maybe when school ends, or when the semester ends, I'll be back to normal. But I wasn't really normal to begin with. So, but thank you guys for listening, and this is my video for the month. But in all seriousness, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you could relate to this video, or if you know anyone that deals with this, that they're not alone. And hopefully I gave you some insight in what it's like, because again, it's not easy. It's not. But on that note, I kind of also wanted to talk about kind of the future plans for this channel. Sorry, I just broke out in a British accent there, but I've been watching Once Upon a Time and a lot of the characters have British accents, so I can't help myself. I think I'm gonna talk more about my diagnoses, because I think it's important for mental awareness and mental health awareness. So if you guys want to hear about my persistent depressive disorder with major depressive episodes, or my generalized anxiety disorder, or more derealization stuff, or whatever, let me know, because I don't mind talking about it, because someone has to, right? And I don't mind being that person. Never do. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or evening, and hopefully I will see you guys soon. So remember, be yourself, spread love, stay beautiful, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.